and Don Staley and all those folks that Cheryl Reeve, who had a hand in Caitlin Clark not making Team USA last year in the Olympics. It looks like they may be now. Cheryl Reeve's still there, but
one legend stepped in, one system fell silent, and the player they once left out is now the axis of a sport-wide crisis. Tonight, how Sue Bird shattered the old committee, why Caitlin Clark's omission still haunts Team USA, and why the WNBA may never be the same.
I'll tell you what we're not going to do. We're not going to allow that.
Can we just like call a spade a spade? Racism has been impacting the WNBA well before this year. This is not a new thing. Sure. This is, and in that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. Mm-hmm. Caitlin didn't bring racism to the WNBA. This has been happening. And that, I think, is what's been such a shock for all of us, that other people are surprised by this. We've been trying to tell you. And once again, for so long, as a player, I would almost joke. I'd be like, I would have loved to have shut up and dribble. In so many ways, I would have loved to have been valued as a basketball player. I would have been loved to have been spoken about just for my play.
Over the next 18 minutes, the committee culture that shaped Olympic rosters, the public outrage when Clark was left out, Sue Bird's historic appointment and why it matters, the economics behind Clark's influence, and the stakes for the WNBA heading into the next Olympic cycle.
Bird won 4 WNBA championships. She was an All-Star 13 times, one of the more decorated basketball players in history, and also 5-time Olympic gold medalist, just named USA Basketball Women's National Team Managing Director. That's a hell of a title there. Is that on your business card? And what exactly does that mean, Sue?
Need like a business index card at this point or whatever. Managing director. It's basically what Grant Hill did for the men's team. So like a GM.
For years, national team selection operated as a multi-voice process, committees, panels, and compromise. That structure favored cohesion and experience, but critics argue it also protected the past at the expense of emerging stars.
Will probably be on the next Olympic team. Just guessing.
I mean, you know.
When Caitlin Clark was left off the Paris/Team USA radar, it didn't land as a quiet note in a press release. It detonated. Fans, former players, and even top executives publicly questioned the decision. The reason publicly offered was experience, but the reaction showed something deeper, a loss of trust. On May 8, 2025, USA Basketball created a new role, managing director, women's national team, and named Sue Bird to the job. That isn't cosmetic. It centralizes roster and staff power into one accountable office, replacing the previous committee process. This change rewrites how teams will be built for 2026 and the 2028 Olympics. This isn't only a roster debate, it's business. Caitlin Clark's arrival reshaped demand. Jerseys, TV ratings, ticket sales, and collectibles suddenly entered a new orbit. Clark's jersey ranked among the highest-selling basketball jerseys, and her commercial gravity is changing how the WNBA is valued. This is a generational fault line. Veterans who built the game warn about cohesion and experience. New voices demand opportunity and growth. Sue Bird, who lived on both sides, is uniquely positioned to bridge or to push the needle. The choice she makes about player selection will be as much cultural as tactical. Scenario A. Bird prioritizes immediate global impact, integrates stars like Clark to maximize reach and dominance. Scenario B. Bird splits minutes and blends veterans for continuity. Either path is public and accountable. The first real test, the 2026 FIBA World Cup, the true pressure cooker, LA 2028. Centralizing power invites scrutiny. Some veterans will bristle. Media narratives will polarize. And if the public perceives decisions as political or commercial, the backlash will be immediate. But the alternative is maintaining a system that fans increasingly view as opaque and out of step. That's the tension Sue Bird inherited. The old committee didn't fail because people were bad. It failed because the game moved faster than the rules. Sue Bird didn't destroy for sport. She was handed an opportunity to remake selection for a new era. Caitlin Clark didn't break the game. She exposed how ready the game was to grow. The choice now is simple: evolve or be left behind. What makes this moment so explosive is not just Caitlin Clark's talent. It's what her rise represents to a league that has historically moved cautiously, sometimes even defensively, when confronted with sudden superstardom. Clark didn't arrive through traditional WNBA pipelines of gradual hype. She detonated into the mainstream through college dominance, social media virality, record-breaking viewership, and a fan base that followed her relentlessly into the professional ranks. That kind of organic, uncontrollable popularity is rare in any sport, and it terrified a system built on incremental growth and internal politics. For years, the WNBA and Team USA selection culture functioned as a closed ecosystem where respect was measured by tenure and opportunity passed through familiar hands. Clark shattered that rhythm. Her presence forced long-standing decision-makers to confront an uncomfortable reality. The sport no longer belongs exclusively to those who built it. It now belongs to those who move it. This is where Sue Bird's role becomes historically significant. She is not an outsider storming the gates. She is the ultimate insider who earned every ounce of her authority on the court. When someone with 5 Olympic gold medals for WNBA championships and decades of institutional trust steps into centralized power, the message is unmistakable. The era of shared responsibility without shared accountability is over. Bird's appointment does not just symbolize reform, it imposes it. Every roster decision from this point forward carries a singular fingerprint. There is no longer a shadow committee to blame, no anonymous process to hide behind. It is transparent by design, and transparency is the most disruptive force of all. And the implications reach far beyond Caitlin Clark. Every rising star is now watching what happens next as a signal for their own futures. Paige Buchers, Angel Reese. The next wave of elite talent understands that this decision isn't just about one Olympic cycle. It's about whether women's basketball will finally align its competitive structures with its exploding cultural relevance. If Sue Bird chooses continuity at the expense of momentum, she risks recreating the very stagnation she was appointed to dismantle. But if she embraces the future too aggressively, she risks alienating the veterans who built the foundation she now stands on. That tension between gratitude and growth is the central conflict of this entire era. Behind the scenes, the business world is already moving faster than the basketball world ever has. Sponsors follow attention. Broadcasters follow ratings. And right now, attention follows Caitlin Clark. Every sold-out arena, every viral logo 3, every youth jersey in the stands is a data point that cannot be ignored. The Olympics are not just competition, they are broadcast theater on a global scale. And global theater demands stars. Not potential, not legacy alone. Stars. That is why this decision is bigger than selection drama. It is a negotiation between identity and evolution, between history and relevance, between tradition and survival. The old system believed it controlled the pace of progress. Caitlin Clark proved that the audience does. Sue Bird now holds the lever between those two forces. And whatever she chooses next will not simply define a roster, it will define who truly holds power in women's basketball going forward.